Hi everyone, my name is Rutuja and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to cover interactive dashboards using Microsoft Excel. So do you know why we need such kind of interactive dashboards? It's because it gives us real-time insights and user-friendly interface which allows us to have efficient decision making. So let's learn this process by solving one business problem. For that we will divide our analysis into four parts. The first one is like what the exact business problem is. Then we will try to understand the data that we are going to require for our analysis. After that we will try to create one interactive dashboard, and based on that dashboard and visualizations and analysis we will try to come up with our recommendations. So our business problem is that we have data of one company with major attrition going on. So the company wants to know the reason behind these employees' resignations and to come up with the recommendations which company can implement to reduce this attrition. So please check the link below in the description if you want to work on this data set. So I have decided to move ahead with some columns that I have mentioned over the screen, as I'm going to analyze the data as who are those employees who are leaving the company based on the company department they belong to and which age group they belong to. Then the next one is like when do the employees leave this company based on the years at company and business travel. And finally, I want to check why do the employees leave the company based on the overtime work. So we will try to make this dashboard. So now let's move on to our practical part. So this is the data set on which we will be working on. So I'll create one blank sheet and I'll name it as a dashboard. So we will try to create interactive dashboard over here. And for that sake, what I'll do is like I'll turn off the headings and grid lines for the same. So I'll go to the views and I'll just turn off these headings and grid lines so that we will get one blank sheet. And now we will have our interactive dashboard over here. So the next step is like to create pivot tables and respective pivot charts for each of our analysis. So we will try to have analysis for these categories which are getting displayed on the screen right now. So first one is like I'll go to insert pivot table from table and range. I'll select new worksheet and okay. So we have now one pivot table created for that. So we will use this analysis for each. So similarly, we will try to create more blank sheets for our next analysis. So just right click, move or copy. So once you will click on move or copy, you will select that particular sheet which you want to create or copy, then create a copy. Okay. So now we have one more blank sheet. So we will use this blank sheet for department. So now let's quickly create such kind of more sheets for the next analysis which is getting displayed on the screen. So now we have each pivot table ready for our each of our analysis. So the first analysis is with the age. So I'll have rows as age. So what I'll do is like I'll just right click on the age, then I'll click on group. So it says that we have age from 18 to 60 and we will divide it with the steps of 10. So I'll click on OK. So it will give us age group of 10 like 18 to 27, 28 to 37 and so on. I'll have columns as attrition, and then I'll again have count of age as the values. So now we have our pivot table ready. So for this sake, we will have our pivot chart also. So I'll go to pivot table analysis, then pivot chart. Then in pivot chart, I'll select suppose this stacked column and then I'll click on OK. So now we have rough pivot chart and pivot table ready. So now we will try to modify both the table and charts. So for first what I'll do is like I'll change the namings of this. So I'll keep this as age group only. Again, the count of age, I'll change it to age group. So the no, I have changed with current employees, and then yes, I'll change with the voluntary resignation. In the pivot chart, what I'll do is simply click on plus. Then I don't want axis. Okay, so I'll keep the axis. Then what I'll do is like I need to have data labels. Okay, center is fine. Then I'll just remove the grid lines, and in the legends I'll have the legends on the top. So again, go to design. What I'll try to do is like I'll change the chart style and I'll try to change the color. You can select the color whichever you want. So now we have this pivot chart. So what I'll do is like I'll try to remove these buttons, I can say. So I'll just right click on that button and click on hide all the fields. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to keep the grid lines or not. I'll just simply remove it. So now we have our pivot chart ready for our age analysis. So now let's move on to our department analysis. Okay, so now moving to department analysis. Before that, what I'll do is like I'll just remove this x-axis. So for that sake, what I can do is like just select that axis, right click on that, and just simply click on delete. So now we don't have that redundant information for that sake. Now let's move on to our department analysis. So in department analysis for the pivot table, what I'll have is like in the columns, we will have attrition. In the department we will have as a rows, and in the values we will have the values of attritions as a count of attrition. Okay, so now we have our pivot table. Now let's jump to the pivot chart. Pivot table analyze, pivot table chart. Then in that I'll go with the clustered column, then simply click on OK. Okay, so now we have our basic pivot chart and pivot table ready. So now we will try to edit this department pivot chart and table like the way which we did for the age analysis. So now let's quickly move on and edit these all the values. Okay, so now we have our pivot table and chart ready for this department like the way it is showing on the screen right now. Now let's move on to the years in the current role. For the years in the current role, what I'll have is like I'll have attrition to the columns, and then in the rows I'll have years at years current role. So I'll just search that column. So what I'll do is like for this also what I'll do is like I'll use group by. Just right click, group. For this sake I'll have the steps of 4 and click on OK. So now I have years in the current role with the gap of 4, like 0 to 3, then 4 to 7, and so on. And in the values again I'll have years in the current role values. Okay, so now I have our pivot table ready. Now let's move on to the pivot chart. So for this sake I'll go to line chart. In line chart, okay, so I'll prefer area chart, and in area chart I'll select it, then click on OK. Okay, so we have now again our basic pivot chart and table ready. So now quickly edit it. Okay, so now we have our pivot chart and table ready for the years in the current role analysis. Now let's move on to the years in company analysis. For this, what I'll have is like I'll have attritions to the column, then years at company values we need to check. So what I'll do is like I'll search by that. Okay, so now we have years at company as rows, and then we need to check the count also. Okay, so before that, what we need to do is like we need to check, or we need to group these values. So what I'll do again, I'll right click, then group. Okay, so we have from 0 to 40 by the steps of 10. I'll just click on OK. So now we have our count ready with the group, and then again I'll have attrition to the values. Okay, so now we have our pivot table. Now we will go for the pivot chart. For this sake I'll use line chart. I'll click on OK. Okay, so now we have our basic pivot chart and table ready for our analysis for the ESH company. So now quickly edit these both table and chart. Okay, now so this is what it looks like after the editing. So after this years in the company, now we will jump to the frequency of business travel. For this frequency of business travel, we will have attrition to the columns. We have different column as business travel, so we will use that as a rows. And again we will have our attrition count to check the values. Okay, so now we have our pivot table. I'll simply go to pivot chart now. For that we will use bar chart. Okay, so we will go with the clustered bar chart. Click on OK. So now this is our basic pivot table and chart. Now again quickly edit it. Okay, so this is what it looks like after the modification. So now from business travel frequency, now we will move to the overtime part. So in the overtime pivot table, what we will have is like we will have attritions to the columns, and then again we need to check the count of attrition. For this sake, we have overtime as a column. So we will use that overtime as rows now. So now we have this pivot table ready. So now quickly edit this pivot table now. So now I have pivot table ready for this. So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to use KPI for the analysis of overtime. So right now I'll not use any kind of pivot chart for the same. So what next we will do is like we have our pivot chart ready for our each of our analysis. So what we will do is like for each pivot table we will add the chart titles. So again I'll click on the plus sign and then I'll click on the chart title and just edit this chart title as the attrition due to, suppose for example, attrition by business travel. So like this way I'll give the name or chart title to each of the pivot chart now. So now quickly do that. Okay, so now we have changed each chart title. So what I'll do is like I'll just try to work on the dashboard now. So the first thing I'll do is like I'll try to create dashboard name. So for that sake, what I'll do like I'll select this particular area and I'll just fill it with the color. Okay, so now in this box, what I'll do is like I'll try to add text. So go to the insert, then we will have text box here. I'll add that text box here. And in this I'll give the name as, suppose we have data of IBM. So what I'll do is like I'll give the heading as IBM employee attrition analysis or analytics. I'll change the alignment also. Then the, okay, so now I'll change it to 40. Then I'll again fill this color with that respective color. Okay, so now we'll change this naming, suppose from black to white. Okay, so now we have our header ready. So what we can do is like, okay, so now we will try, what we will try to do, right click, format shape, no line. Okay, so we are like we don't have line of that particular text box now. Okay, so now let's, what we can do is like now we will copy each and every of our pivot chart in this dashboard now. Okay, so till now what we have done is like we have copy pasted all of our respective pivot charts from that respective pivot table sheet to the dashboard. So not now what we now next what we will try to do is like we will try to align all these graphs over this dashboard so that it looks well. So just let's just start with the alignment. So now this is what it looks like after the alignment of respective pivot charts. So now if you remember that we have one more analysis that is for the overtime, and we have decided like we will use KPI for the same. So now what I'll do is like firstly I'll add like one shape over there, and then in that I'll try to add one text box in that. So what I'll do is like go to the shapes, I'll go to the square. Okay, so then I'll draw the square over here. Then I'll try to change that shape fill, outline. I'll set it to no outline. Okay, so now what I'll do is like I'll have text box added in that respective shape. Then go to the insert. Then I'll add that respective text. I'll draw that text. And in this text, suppose I'll write overtime employee count. Suppose for example of attrition. Okay, so now what I'll do is like I'll try to edit this. Then I'll change the alignment. I'll fill that color out. I'll change the text color to white. I'll increase the font size. Okay, so now we have our text box ready. So I'll just change the edge of this shape to no, a line, no line. Okay, so now we will add one more text box now. Okay, so in that what we need to do is like if you'll go to the overtime sheet, so we need to display this 127 count because it has the 127 employees has resigned voluntarily because of the overtime. So we need to display this 127 count over the dashboard. So what I'll do is like I'll go to the dashboard, I'll go to the formula bar, and what I'll do is like I'll have equal to sign and I'll give that respective sheet name over here, then the exclamation mark, and okay, again I'll go to that sheet, and what's that 127, so that cell is C6 cell. So I need to address that cell over there. So dashboard, this again over time, exclamation, and then I need to display that respective cell name. Hit enter. Okay, so if you hit enter, then you will see that that 127 count is getting displayed over here. So now what we will do is like now we will try to edit this column. We'll change the font size. Okay, then they will change the alignment also. Change the shape. We will go to the format shape again, then line, then to the no line. Okay, so now that respective KPI of voluntarily resigned count that is now getting displayed over here. So that count is as of now is 127. So the next step is like what we can do is like we can add a slicer over here. Okay, so now to add a slicer, what we can do is like select any pivot chart over there. Just go to the insert, and in insert you will get the option of slicer. Once you will select it, it will give you all the column names which this Excel sheet has, and then you can select that respective slicer. So right now I want to select the slicer for attrition, then I'll select that particular attrition column, and then I'll click on OK. So once you will click on OK, then you will get that respective slicer over here. Then you can align that slicer with your with your dashboard. So now what you can do is like if you will suppose right click and then go to report connections, and once you will go to report connection, it will show that right now it's just only connected to the edge. So if we'll change this slicer, then only edge pivot chart will get changed, but it's not the case. In our case, what we want is like according to the slicer selection, we need to change or we need to look for each and every pivot chart, and that each pivot chart needs to get changed. So what we can do is like we can select all the pivot charts which we have, so that once we will change the slicer, suppose for example from current employee to voluntary, or like if you select both, then that respective values needs to get changed from each pivot charts, and then it needs to be get displayed accordingly. So I'll just simply click on OK. So suppose if I'll change to voluntary resignation, then that respective dashboard, it will show all the values only for the resignation. If I change it to the current employees, then it will show to the current employees, and if I'll multi-select it, then it will show for the both of them. So suppose for example, if I don't want this attrition heading for that, then what I can do is like I'll go to the slicer settings, and in slicer settings, I'll just disable this display header option, and then I'll click on OK. So now it's not displaying that respective header because it's a redundant information right now. So we can have our slicer over here like this in our dashboard. So the next one, what we can do is like we can also add an image also. So what I'll go to the insert pictures. I'll place over the sales and this device. So in this device, I'll select that respective image and click on insert. Okay, so now we will again align this image in our dashboard. Okay, so now we have this image here. And what I'll do, I'll send this image to the backward. So simply I'll just select send backward. Now, okay. And lastly, what I'll do is like, I'll just go to the views, and again, I'll just disable this formula bar. So now this is what it looks like, our dashboard, which we wanted to create. So the last part about this dashboard is like, once you are done with the dashboard, so the next, so the information or the Excel sheets which we have created for our pivot tables and charts for the analysis, which we can hide that respective Excel sheet, so that you can share this Excel sheet, and that respective person who will receive this Excel sheet, that person will be able to see only dashboard and not the redundant information or the analysis part which we have done earlier. So what you can do for that sake is like just go to that respective Excel sheet and click on hide. So once you will click on hide, then that respective sheets will get hidden. So you can do the same for the rest of the pivot tables, and also to the basic our in a data set which we have. So now let's quickly do that. Okay, so now after the dashboard creation, we have the answers to our each of our analysis questions. So the first answer is like research and development department employees are resigning majorly. The next one is like employees of age group 28 to 37, followed by 18 to 27 age group employees are leaving the company soon. The next one is like employees who have been in the same role for less than 4 years and in the same company for less than 9 years. They are contributing majorly to this attrition. And the last one is like employees who need to travel frequently for the business purpose. They are leaving the company soon. So now what a company can do to keep their employees with the organization? So the recommendation would be like, first one is company can implement some mentorship or coaching programs which can provide clear career progression paths to the employees, maybe like regularly discuss their career goals and potential promotions with the employees to keep them engaged so that they can see their clear path of the for the growth within the company. The next one would be like company can conduct regular one-on-one meetings to understand their employees' concerns, especially for those who have high turnover demographics. Also can evaluate and adjust their workloads, particularly for those employees who are traveling frequently, to provide them with the work-life balance. The next one would be company can ensure that their compensation and benefits for the employees in this research and development department are competitive, especially for those who are like with the less than 9 years at the company, and also can offer retention bonuses or the stock options that could be an effective option also. The last one would be company can encourage the use of virtual meetings instead of like frequent business travel whenever possible. So this can help to reduce the strain on the employees who are traveling and who are frequently on the road. Thanks for watching this tutorial. If you like my work, please hit like and subscribe, and see you in the next tutorial.